Hi, I'm Robert Hall, the owner of American Powertrain, and I want to take a look at a couple of 6-speed transmissions over here. Every day we get calls from fellows who are saying they want to put a 6-speed in an older car, usually a muscle car, and a lot of times the guys will say, I'm going to the junkyard, or I've already been to the junkyard and I've picked up something like this 5th gen Camaro TREMEC 6060 or this older Borg Warner T56. Well, the problem with that is, even though they're good transmissions in the cars they were designed for, they're really not what you want to put in an older car. And I can tell you why. One, obviously you have the fact that they're used, and all you know is they lived long enough to at least get in one good wreck. Now the Magnum, of course, is a 700 foot-pound, 7,000 RPM tranny, brand new, 2-year warranty if you get it from American Powertrain. And American Powertrain makes all the pieces and parts to fit these into older cars. Now when you're looking at something like this 6060, you'll realize there's not even a place to bolt a shifter on there, and that's because a lot of the modern production cars have a remote shifter that's bolted to the floor. On a Camaro, like this transmission came from, the shifter would actually be way up here. You just can't fit that into an old muscle car. Something like this older T56 out of a Mustang Cobra, the shifter was back here in the back. Well, if that's exactly where you need the shifter, that's fine, but you can't move it. That's the only place to put a shifter. Now people have heard that with the Magnum, all you have to do to move the shifter forward enough for, let's say, a C10, an F100, or a Tri-5 Chevy, is take out these 4 bolts, lift off the plate, and drop your American Powertrain shifter in there. That's true. But you see a plate on a T56, whether it be a Ford or a Chevy, that's not going to work. You take off the 4 bolts and there's no shifter pocket there. To make it where you can add a shifter involves stripping down the transmission, and there are only a handful of shops that really want to do that or can even get the components to add a shifter. And that's a lot of trouble to go through for something that we can get you right off the shelf. Another difference that you're going to find between the Magnum and many of the production car 6-speeds is the yoke. The Magnum takes a standard slip yoke. Many of the production car transmissions use either a very specialized yoke or they'll have a big flange on the back, and these are parts that your typical drive shaft shop won't have. Another consideration is once you get the car all put together, you have the transmission in, you have to be able to run your speedometer. The Magnum will run a mechanical speedo or an electronic speedo. Most of your production car transmissions are set up for electronic speedo only, and some don't even have a provision to run a speedometer. When you move around to the front of the transmission, you'll see that the Magnum is set up with a standard GM type input shaft, whereas some of the production car transmissions, at first glance, they look like something you can use, but then when you get in there you'll realize the input shaft is very long, or it will not accept most types of hydraulics, so you'll be very limited in replicating exactly what was in the car when it left the factory. So unless you were using a modern LS crate engine with this Gen 5 Camaro transmission, you're going to run into a lot of problems that aren't evident when you first look at it. The Magnum, of course, we can take that, put an American Powertrain mag link on there, and you can even run a 4-speed bell and mechanical linkage if you wish. So there you go as a general overview. 6060, T56, good transmissions, but they were designed for one car and one car only. The Magnum will give you more power, better shifts, a much quicker installation, and all of that's covered by a warranty. If you feel like you're kind of trapped because you've already gone to the junkyard, you've already bought a transmission, don't worry. Somebody out there needs your transmission, so your money's not gone. It just looks like a transmission. Put her on eBay and move on with your project.